Hi everyone, I'm Shannon from Evolve PR, and you're about to watch me being really bad at Conquest of Champions. Conquest of Champions is a tactical strategy game with CCG-style deck building. You summon creatures, cast spells, and equip items, then move your creatures around the board the way you would a miniatures game or any tactics-type game. It's made by a company called Kihon out of Tucson, Arizona, who you may remember from Octopi or SOE Tucson, as most of the principals were the makers of Pox Nora. So we're going to head right into a game. You can do Quick Match, which puts you against a live opponent, or Extended, which puts you against an opponent over several days. There are tutorials to choose from, and we're going to head into a practice mode so I can show some of the game. I just skipped ahead a little bit. Right now, as you can see on the lower left, I have 10 gems to choose from. I'm moving around and building up some of my mines. Each turn, my mines will generate more gems. I'm using an upgrade mine spell just to give me more gems on the next turn, and then I'm going to look at spells. Incinerate, and then I'm going to drop a zombie on the map. Each unit costs gems to cast, like most other strategy games. And you can also burn resources to get extra cards, which can be critically important, especially in this early stage. So that's a quick turn. We will let our distinguished opponent move. And this time he's generating resources, casting spells, and moving around the board. Now, each turn, the mine will generate gems, so that means there's a whole territory control element too, in addition to the just moving your dudes around the board element. So this time around I have 13 gems to spend rather than 10. So we'll take a look at his hero a little bit, see some of his stats and his abilities, and one of his units. Because he's playing a dwarf, they obviously have a theme. My theme is being evil and awesome, and that's his walking mine. So he's obviously focused on mining and building up his gem supply, while I'm focused on getting creatures on the board and kicking him in the teeth. So I'm going to build up one of my mines, because that will pay off next turn. Upgrade another one of mine. And get my Necromancer on the field. The Necromancer can summon skeletons, which makes her extremely useful for unit spamming, which is the main reason I like to have her on my deck. So he's building more mines and then advancing to the center of the board. And so the battle begins. So I'm just going to obsess over my Incinerate spell because I want to burn everything and everyone. Sadly, I can't right now because it only hits when 30% health. But I can go ahead and keep upgrading my mines, which means I can get bigger units on the field, which means I can kick him in the teeth better. Right now I'm going to move my zombie around and get one of those delicious skeletons on the field. My assassin can actually stealth, which means, well, of course you know what it means. So he's very useful to have on the field, which is all the more reason to get him out now. Now the gray square that just lit up is a teleporter. That's what is at the back of both of our sides, and that's how you get on the field. So, again, this becomes a territory control thing. I want to fight for that teleporter because I want to get my guys on the field and outnumbering him as fast as possible, because otherwise he's going to get some really strong hits. Again, obsessing with burning everything, because that's how I roll. Now your units can actually destroy mines too, in addition to building them, so all the more reason to go up there and hit her in the face. and then just start wailing on his hero to hopefully drive him away from that teleporter. Sadly, cannot burn anything So he has just, I want to say, screwed up really badly, and he's left that teleporter largely unguarded. So hopefully next turn I can advance and take it, and then start spamming some of my dudes on the field. Now, when your meter on the lower right fills up, your hero actually upgrades. He becomes more powerful, and he hits harder. So that is a very fortunate step for me. And I am very excited to see what I can do with him. In the meantime, I'm going to move towards those back. Those are actually your shrines, and one of the objectives of the game is to kill the heroes, kill the shrine, and win the game. On the other hand, taking out his mine is wonderful because that's one less gem he can use, and I can capture the teleporter, which means I can get more of my guys on the field. And just keep chopping away at his hero's health. Now, my Warlock is fun because the more you hit him, the damage is transmitted to other units. So he's actually kind of a healer, but he also has a pretty nice hit pool. So that forced him to burn an action to rebuild that mine, and that obviously won't generate gems till next turn. So even though he suffered this turn, and then it's going to take till next turn till he benefits from it, and he had to burn an action to rebuild the mine. So just kicking over mine can be useful in a way to distract his units and keep them from hitting yours. And then I will take the top teleporter and start hitting some of his creatures as well. So at this point, I've got pretty good control of the center of the board, and we're still fighting for it, but I have both teleporters, and I can start dropping units. And start hitting his shrines, too. Now, if this was a human player, I like to think it'd respond, but since it's AI, he probably has no idea what I'm doing, so we will just hope for the best. Moving my skeleton out of the way to drop my fire bat in his face. And finally we get to see Glorious Incinerate. Meaning I have pretty much unchallenged control of the bottom half of the map right now. And this is what I was talking about with territorial control. That gives me a good shot to either advance or start looking towards the top and endangering his hero in addition to his lower shrine. Now, as you can see by my flailing around, I'm out of action points, so there's very little I can do. But I still like to flail around and see, move units around, see what I can do. Now, if he had stayed where he'd went between two of my mines and near two of my shrines, I would have been more concerned, but he instantly stepped back from it. I'm not sure why, because again, this is an opponent, so I can't say it's part of a strategy or just the computer flailing. Either way, that was a good stroke of luck for me. So my Necromancer is down, but my Skeleton remains to hopefully finish kicking that shrine. Resume kicking his shrine. Start working on the other one. Knock over his mine again. And there it goes. That's one down. And now we can start working on the big dwarf itself. And shooting dwarves in fire is one of those things that will never get old. And again, I'm out of action points, so there's not much I can do. But I really like looking at some of my abilities and scoping out who has hit points left and figuring out my next round. But my plan at this point is basically continue dominating the field, knock over his last shrine, and then kill the dwarf dead. And of course, keep dropping units on the board and swarm him with unit spam. Because that's how we roll on the dark side. And I will drop one of my favorite cards in the game, because I like to play card control decks. Death Sentence is a lot of fun. He still gets a unit for the remainder of the turn, but then it keels over dead. So I'm going to use it to take out this golem right here. Yeah, definitely that golem. And while that burns my gems for the turn, I still have plenty of units on the field. And we can continue beating the dwarf senseless. Fire at it. And peppering it with arrows. Now, sometimes what to stab is a tricky question. There's so many things to stab. Oh, where'd he go? You can't find him because he's invisible. Stealth is a wonderful thing. So now the wolves close in. Keep working on his second and remaining shrine. And while I'm out of action points, it's always good to plot the next round. And check out one's hellhounds. By this point, that teleporter's not worth fighting for. And his golem... Capture the teleporter, shoot arrows in it. Shoot fire at things. Stab things. Collect wonderful gems. Knock over a mine, just for fun. Upgrade one of my mines. And drop a dragon on the board because you can. How about something really nasty? How about we do something? Set its defense to, say, 0, and then stab it or shoot fire at it. I like that idea a whole lot. But let's think about it. What to stab? What to shoot fire at? When to shoot fire? These are all the critical questions of our time. Because turns out we didn't need to burn that spell out. And oh. See, by saving it for the second one, we get to kill 2 this round. And more murder is always good. Especially when you're playing on the purple side as opposed to the yellow side, which, as established, is not the cool side. Sadly, my gloating and showboating has burned me out of action points this round, so finishing off his shrine will have to wait. But gloating and showboating is also an important part of being a villain. At this point, it's, the flailing of James Bond as you tie him down to the laser table. I mean, there's a chance he can escape, but he's probably not going to. I'd have to really screw it up, and while I'm in PR, that's exquisitely possible, but probably not likely at this point. So, shoot fire at his shrine. Kill it with a skeleton. And there we go. So, you get rewards. Sometimes this is cards, sometimes this is more gold. We can just take a look at the card here, see some of its stats and abilities. And then you can see some of the single-player campaigns. And we'll go take a look at some of the cards in my deck builder. Now, this is the deck I was using. It's fairly fleshed out because I've actually been using it. So let's take a look at the Painbringer. So you can see some of the card art, some of the abilities, all the stats, the cost to get him on the field, 15 gems. And we can just have a look at some of the other cards in this particular card set. There are other sides, but let's face it, those aren't nearly as cool and aren't nearly as purple. So the fusion system solves the biggest problem for card games, which is what the hell do I do with all these extra cards? Since you can only have 2 in a deck at a time, your best bet is to, yes, fuse them. Which gets you anything, because I completed a quest, but it also levels up your cards. So your cards actually level up and progress in addition to that you can make new cards in the crafting system. I haven't leveled up enough to use this yet, but you can see my beloved Upgrade Mines. This is a card for one of the green heroes, the Forest Totem. So you can make cards this way, you can buy cards, obviously, you can win cards. And that's going to do it for Conquest of Champions. You can check it out at conquestofchampions.com or look for it on Steam.